Live. Sorry about that, guys. I was just having some technical difficulties with the YouTube app. I don't know why it wasn't allowing me to change the orientation again. So yet again, we have to be on the portrait. So welcome back to the channel. Nonetheless, we go on. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope everyone's had a great week. How's your week been? Let me know in the comments. How has your week been? I had a good week. I think it was a very productive week. You can see, even got the new merch in. Looks pretty good, I think. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, it's been a very, very good week, a very busy week, I would say. Busy with the YouTube stuff and a lot of studying and reading and all of this. So yeah, been pretty busy. And how was you guys' day? Or I'm not sure where you guys are watching from, but is it still daytime? Is it nighttime like it is by me? How has your day been, or how is your day going? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, so I had a very good day as well. I was able to go to the gym today. If you follow me on Instagram, you could see the post I made. I made a post with my workout. I didn't feel that great today. It was, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. I didn't sleep well, I think, last night, so that could have been one of the reasons. And I just forced myself to go to the gym, and we had to get it done. We have to get it done. No excuses. But overall, I think it was a good workout, and I'm glad I went. Then spent the rest of the day just busy with video editing, and that still takes a lot of my time, the video editing stuff. And it's not, I would say, I'm not getting, not to put it that way, let's put it another way. I'm not perfect at it, but it's getting better each time. So yeah, we have a lot of things to discuss today. Why can't I see my chat? Okay, for some reason I cannot see my chat. I'm not sure if you guys have started to comment yet, but I'm not seeing any chat. Just hang on a moment. Okay, well, nonetheless, maybe just no one has commented yet. But let me know, can you guys hear me clearly? Is it okay? Is the sound okay? Is the lighting okay? Can you see me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Let me know in the chat. So we got a lot of things to talk about today, and I wanted this to be a bit different than the last one. So this one is going to be, I'm going to share some of the things that I want to talk about, and you in the comments also, I want you to engage with me, and let's talk about some of the things that you guys want to talk about. So I'll start off because I don't see, oh, okay, great. The comments are working, they're coming in. Okay, great. The sound is good, everything is on point. Okay, cool, thank you for letting me know. Yeah, so I wanted this one to be a bit more engaging. The last one, I think, it didn't start out that great with the camera problems, whatever, but this one also didn't start off too well because we had that issue with going live. I was a few minutes late, but nonetheless, we go on. So what I want to talk about today is, the first thing I want to talk about is just talking about my lowest point that I experienced in my life and how I overcame it. But before we talk about that, I have one question for you. And the question is, what's something that you believed when you were 18, but you don't believe anymore? Let me know in the comments. What did you guys believe when you were 18 and you don't believe now? For me, if I had to think about that, I would say that when I was 18, I had a very different mentality to what I have now. I was very weak-minded, and I felt almost a sense of entitlement, I would say. For some reason, I felt I was better than I was supposed to be. And I just felt like the world owed me something. but that's clearly not the case. And yeah, that's one of the major things that changed with my mindset, is that if you're not willing to work hard and actually try to improve yourself, the world does not owe you anything. The world doesn't owe you anything, absolutely nothing. So that's one thing I changed from the time I was 18 to now. Let me know in the comments, what did you guys believe when you were 18, and do you still believe it now, or did it change? Okay, yeah. So I wanted to talk about my lowest point. So my lowest point was, I think, around roughly about 4 or 5 years ago, I would say. Maybe even 3. Maybe let's say 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago. So I was experiencing a whole host of emotions, and I was very unstable, emotionally unstable. Like nothing was going right in my life. I was heartbroken. I was stuck in a dead-end job, and no confidence, no self-esteem. And also, it's a bit sensitive, but I'm more than willing to share this with you guys. I was also very suicidal, and it was not a good place, not a very good place for me. But I'm not going to go into too much detail with that, but that's the feeling that I had. That was my lowest point. And what helped me to overcome that was, well, simple things. It's having good people around you. I had a lot of good people around me, which helped. And I started to pray again. I mentioned this in a few of my videos. I started to pray again. And the surprising thing is, I stopped believing in God for a while because I felt like He was the reason that a lot of things in my life was not going smoothly. And I started to blame Him for these things, not taking into consideration my own actions, no accountability from my end, just blaming God for everything. And something in me changed. I don't really know what it was. It could have possibly been some influence from my grandma and my mom, but I started to pray again. But my way of praying wasn't like how normal people would pray. Mine was basically, there were nights where I couldn't sleep because obviously of the emotions I was going through. I had insomnia. I couldn't sleep. So I decided to just start talking to God while I was in bed at night. And I would just speak to Him like how I would speak to a friend. And it started off okay. And obviously, I'm not getting any responses. So I'm just talking to myself. That's what it felt like. And I kept doing that. I stuck to it. And I really, really stuck to that. I started to do it even in the mornings as well. And what I noticed was, after a few months of consistently doing that, I started to feel a difference. I started to feel like I was getting responses from Him with signs that was appearing in my life. Like a lot of things started to get better for me. A lot of opportunities started to come up. And I then decided that if I want to continue growing, I need to make a lot of improvements. And I just looked at myself in the mirror and I said, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What do I need to fix? And I wrote it all down and I worked on each thing. And it took me some time, but here I am now in a much better space. And personal growth is very important, very, very important. Self-improvement as well is very, very important. And we should always be striving to be better. Okay, I see some comments coming in. Okay, got a comment here. Getting a stable job in accounting was an avenue to make real money. That's your answer to the question. Well, getting a stable job in accounting was an avenue to make. I actually had a few friends that were studying accounting and they became chartered accountants. And the funny thing is yes, they were making a great income, but what that meant was that they had no time. So their social lives was impacted and they didn't have time for relationships. So it really impacted their time and they just felt drained out. And a lot of them spoke to me and said that they ended up like regretting the decision. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I can see now is what you're trying to say is that it's you don't believe that anymore. And yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Okay, we got another one here. Being smart does not mean you will be successful. Oh, 100%. I really, really like that comment. Really, really like that comment. Give Shikar a W in the chat. That was a very, very nice comment. Being smart does not mean you will be successful. That's very good, very powerful, very, very powerful. And I agree, because you can be the smartest guy, but if you don't team that with hard work, dedication, and a lot of other qualities, like you can say, throw in like perseverance, there's so many things, right? Being smart alone will get you nowhere. You need to team that with a lot of things. Like I think it was a quote from Cristiano Ronaldo that said, "Talent without work means nothing." And I think that's also very true. You can have all the talent in the world, or you can be the smartest guy in the world, but if you're not willing to put in the hard work, it gets you nowhere. It gets you absolutely nowhere. And that's something I also learned myself, is that a lot of people always told me that I had potential. I had a lot of potential, and I speak well, and there's a lot of things that I do well. But the point is, if I didn't, sorry, just excuse me. The point is, if I didn't start working hard, I would have lost a lot of those things and lost a lot of those opportunities. For example, everyone told me that I always looked great, and if I stopped training, if I stopped eating right, I would not look great anymore. I would look very bad, very, very bad. And that's what made me consistent, is that going to the gym, this is one example we can talk about. Going to the gym, it does so much for you, not just physically, but mentally. So going to the gym alone just helped me to, get my confidence back, build up my self-esteem. And it helped my physical appearance as well. So you start to get a lot more compliments. You start to get a lot more admirers, as my mom would put it. So, and it just makes you want to continue doing it on a consistent basis. Because if you see good results from doing something, why stop? Why stop? So that's my thing. It's like a lot of people I've known in my life have started training and took the gym seriously for maybe a few months, maybe a year or two. But then they get into relationships and they lose their focus. They lose their focus, and the priority basically shifts to that relationship only. That's not a good thing, guys. That's not a very good thing, because you are now shifting your priorities onto a relationship. And fair play, if you're happy, that's great, but you should never ever abandon your own health. Like going to the gym doesn't have to be about lifting heavy weights. It keeps you active and it keeps you healthy. So yeah, that's all I gotta say on that. Okay, I've got another comment in. I think intelligence without action leads nowhere. Yeah, absolutely. Having, like we said, imagine, for example, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a workaholic. You can see it. He is a workaholic, and he is one of the smartest people on earth, right? And if he didn't have that work ethic, he would probably still be in a dead-end job or like a 9-to-5 job somewhere and not as successful. So you need to team that with hard work as well, dedication. You cannot get away from hard work. No matter how hard you try, you have to put in the miles. Okay, we got another comment in from Shikar. People always say knowledge is power, but the truth is that it's applied knowledge that gives real power. Applied knowledge gives real power. Yes. That's also, Shikar is coming in with some bangers tonight. Some really, really good comments, checks. Yeah, yet again, Hit him with a W in the chat. I mean, he's coming up with some bangers. I want what he's drinking tonight. He's got some very, very good insights. So yeah, people say knowledge is power, but the truth is it's applied knowledge that gives you real power. Yes, it's how you apply the knowledge, 100%. You can have the knowledge, and how you apply it matters. For example, I'm going to use, I keep going back to the gym, but it's the most relevant example I can give you, the easiest example I can think of right now. If you look at a trainer, for example, a trainer has all of the knowledge, or well, supposedly has all of the knowledge, right? Majority of them don't. I've been to a lot of gyms, and from what I've seen, a lot of the personal trainers don't know what they are doing. But let's say they do. Let's say you get someone who actually knows what they're doing, right? If you see this trainer, let's say he has all the knowledge in the world, but he's fat. He's like extremely fat. Are you going to want to train with him? Because I mean, looking at him, he can have a lot of knowledge, but he's clearly not applying the knowledge. He looks like that. Why would you trust him? So I think the same thing can apply to life. I mean, you can have the knowledge, but if you don't apply it, then it's not going to work. It's really not going to work. All right. So yeah, I did touch on a few points where I spoke about some of the habits that help to shape me, some of the habits that help to build me. So I think we did touch on it a little bit as well on the other live that we did, but it's fine. We're going to go more in depth on this one. So I mentioned the gym and how the gym helped me. I think I've mentioned this as well, but we can just touch on it again. Just a quick one. The gym, like I said, it helped me to build my confidence, my self-esteem. It helped me with a lot of things in my life. It was my form of escapism. If I had a bad day, for example, going to the gym just made me feel a little bit happy, I would say. It gave me something to look forward to at the end of the day. And it became something of I would say, a therapy session that I would have. I turned to the gym as my therapist. And it did help. It helped me a lot because it helped me to build discipline. It helped me to shape my mentality a lot. So if you are having doubts about starting the gym, do yourself a favor, start. Because going to the gym, trust me, once you start, and after a few weeks, when you start to see a little bit of progress, and you notice that you start to feel better, and you are going to not want to stop. But the challenge comes in is when life hits. What does that mean? So when life hits, it's like I mentioned, if someone gets into a relationship, a lot of the times they tend to leave the gym and just focus on that relationship. But let's say you get sick or you have, God forbid, an accident. You know, something just happened, life happens, right? A lot of those people then just choose to not go back to the gym. And that's where they're making the biggest mistake. Because if you go through anything, let's say, for example, you are sick. After you recover, give yourself a week to recover, right? Even 2 weeks, depending on how severe your sickness is. And once you recover, even if you don't feel 100%, you feel like maybe like 70 or 80%, go to the gym. And I'm not saying have a 1 hour or 2 hour session, have just a 20-minute session. Just go in and do something. Keep yourself active. Because if you continue to feel sick and feel sorry for yourself, then you're going to end up being fat again, to put it that way. Okay, so we touched on the gym. And the next thing I would say is planning. So planning is very, very vital. If you want to succeed, you need to plan. You really need to plan. So in my last video, I did a video about how ChatGPT can help you with your depression or your mental health. And we spoke about it also in the last live. And I mentioned that you can use ChatGPT for journaling, and you can use it if you're just not feeling right, if you're not feeling good, you can just tell it how you're feeling and it gives you answers. But it also helps you to plan, and it's very, very good at helping you to plan. So I use it to help me to plan. I asked it for a template, to make me a template for my week, and I would have spaces for me to put in what my tasks would be for the week, and then I would have a percentage assigned to each one of those tasks. And that is working really, really well, really well. And each day, it requires me to check on my schedule and to basically make sure I'm on track and not falling behind. And this is something I have started with a close circle of mine, close group of mine, and we basically share this on a weekly basis. And what this does is it keeps us consistent. How can I put this? It keeps us consistent because we keep checking up on each other. And if you falter on one of the tasks, let's say you didn't complete something, you need to explain why, and you will get called out on your excuses. And that's something I really like. So it's good to have a circle around you, a group of people around you that are like-minded, because that's going to help you as well. That's going to help you a lot. So yeah, the planning really helped me. It makes my days much more easier, because in the past I would contemplate planning, but I never really liked planning. I just thought planning was just a waste of time. I could just wing it. But the problem is, when you start to wing things, is that it catches up with you. It really, really starts to catch up on you, because you can wing it for so long, but then when you need to get things done, you realize that you have like 100 tasks, let's say, for the week. And now I had this problem as well. So those 100 tasks that keep playing in your head, and you don't know where to start. And what would you do? You would end up doing absolutely nothing. I've had those nights. So it was maybe last year or the year before, maybe 2 years ago. It's like I had a lot of things to do this one weekend. I think it was a Saturday. And I was planning to do a lot of things on the Saturday and the Sunday. And there was so much of things, and there was more things added onto it as well. And that just made me overthink everything, and didn't turn out well, because I ended up doing absolutely nothing. And that's where planning came in. Planning really helped me, because when I planned, it allowed me to designate my time accordingly to each one of those tasks, and you could just tick them off as you finish it. So that really helped. The next thing is journaling. Journaling, I think, is very important. Not many people like to journal, but if you are still like in the old school where you like to write, that's great. Or if you can use your phone, like I said in the video, the ChatGPT video, you can get a template of ChatGPT and just journal and write how your day is going, how you're feeling, and just keep track of that. You'll be surprised how effective just writing down something can make a huge difference. All right. Okay, we got a lot of chats coming in. Okay, I think. Oh, okay. Let me just caught up with the chat. Okay, so Shika says, I think a good example is teachers who teach business but have never run a business in their lives. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, this is another topic on its own. We can go at length with this topic. Someone who teaches you business studies or business management, whatever it's called, but you're learning from someone who's going off a textbook. And he has no practical experience of actually running a business or running a successful business. Maybe he has run a business, but he's failed at so many. So yeah, I agree with you there. Okay, Rahul, what is he up to? Traveling in China today. Good food, great views, market research tomorrow. Great, great. Where are you traveling to, Rahul? I'd love to know. Okay, we got Darshan in the chat. A lot of people don't know how or where to start when it comes to going to the gym for the first time. Yeah, that is true. A lot of people don't know where to start when they want to go to the gym for the first time. Yes, that's 100% true. That's why I've also started to post more on Instagram, is where I'm sharing my workouts. And I encourage people, because in my captions, I always put out, like, if you need any help with your fitness goals or your fitness journey, or you just don't know what to do, you don't know where to get started, just message me, just DM me. I think I did leave my Instagram in the description. So if you want to learn or you don't know where to start and you need some help to get started, just send me a message and I'll help you. Funny enough that Darshan mentioned this is, I think 2 hours ago, I got a message on Facebook, I think it was. Facebook, yeah. Someone reached out to me and she basically was not sure what to do with her fitness journey. She was stuck and she needed some advice. And, I helped her out. I gave her some good advice and I told her to keep in touch. If she needs any help in the future, I'm always here. So that's a good sign that one person did reach out. So if anyone else has any questions or would need some help with that regard, feel free to message me. All right, Chika, this relates to an insight from Atomic Habits that we don't rise to the levels of our goals, but fall to the level of our systems. Yes, 100%. That's also a good one. Man, 3 good comments in a row. It's must be a first for you. The results to an insight from Atomic Habits. Yeah, Atomic Habits is a great book. It's really, really a great book. And yeah, like you mentioned, and it also mentions it in the book. If you don't have a good system, you will never succeed. It's like with anything in life. If you look at, for example, let's take football, for example. If your football team doesn't have a good system, then you're never going to win the title. You're never going to win the trophy. You need to have a good system in place that everyone understands, or that you yourself understand and that you believe in. And if you don't believe in it, it's not going to work. You need to believe in it, have faith in it, and make sure it's realistic to where you are at the moment. And if you have that in place and you consistently do it, I don't see why you would fail. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, Darshan's asking, where did you go traveling? It's a city called Jinhua. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Jinhua, close to one of the largest trade centers in the world. All right, that sounds interesting. What did you go to check out, Raul? Okay, yeah, Shikara says, we all know we're talking about Ruben Amorim. Let's not go with the Man United stuff right now. But aren't they playing? I think they're playing later tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure. We got more important things to discuss. So let's go on. So yeah, I touched on gym, I touched on planning, I touched on journaling, and I also covered the praying aspect. And the next thing was basically, I wrote down asking how and not why. So whenever you are presented with a problem or an obstacle, a lot of people will just be like, why? Why me? Why always me? But if you approach it like that, then you're never going to really succeed in it, because the more you complain and ask why, it's like what I call having a victim mentality, is that a lot of things are happening to you and you're just like, why? That's not how you should approach it. having a victim mentality can be your biggest downfall. You should be looking at it in a different way. So the way I look at it, if something bad happens to me, for example, I firstly accept that part of it, or maybe all of it, is my fault. Because the first thing you should do with anything bad that happens in your life is take accountability. Because some way it's your choice that led to that problem happening. And once you take the accountability, then you need to accept that this is not a problem that you can't solve. Because I believe that any problems that arise in your life, it's basically God giving you a test. And He will never give you a test that you can't pass. So He's giving you a test. And why does God keep testing us? He keeps testing us because He wants us to learn lessons. We need to learn lessons in life. And some of those lessons are going to be painful. Maybe, like, for example, a bad breakup, maybe a death, whatever. But it's very important that you learn those lessons. And once you are able to accept that and figure out what the lesson was, then you will say, okay, how can I fix this problem, or how can I overcome this problem? And then you look at solutions. And that's how I think you should attack every problem in your life. Maybe some of you may not agree, but that's the way personally that I would go about it. And the next thing I want to talk about is purpose. Purpose. So a lot of people don't know or don't have purpose in life. They just go through life sailing and not having any purpose. A lot of people are struggling to find their purpose. And for me, I was struggling for, I would say, like 25, 26 years to find my purpose. And I finally got it. I finally found my purpose. And how did I find my purpose? So I kept praying to God, and I asked Him, can you show me what is my purpose? Or can you help me to find out what is my purpose in life? And what that did was, I was never going to get an answer from Him, a direct answer in any case. And He showed it to me through a life experience. And the life experience that I've had that made me realize what my purpose was 2 years ago when I went back to South Africa. I went to visit some family. And it was the first time in my life that I was able to take out my mom, my dad, and my brother for a dinner and not worry about how much it cost. I just asked them, like, where do you want to go? What do you want to eat? Let's go. What do you want to eat? Order anything you want from the menu. Drinks is fine. Order whatever you like. And, just the joy that they had on their faces and the sense of how proud they were of me, that made me realize what my purpose was. And my purpose was not to be selfish. I call it being selfish and not focus on just myself. I need to take care of my people. I need to take care of my mom. I need to take care of my dad. I need to take care of my grandmas. I need to take care of a lot of people in my family. And that's your responsibility and your role as a man. And that's what I believe. If you are a traditional man, you can resonate with me. Maybe some people will disagree, but that's my belief, and that's the way I found my purpose. Just by having a simple dinner made me find my purpose. And it's quite clear now that I need to keep working hard and keep striving to do better every day, because at some point I'm going to have kids as well. And I want to make sure that they are well taken care of. I want to make sure that they continue this legacy, continue my legacy that I've left, and take care of me when I'm older. And then, that tradition just carries on and carries on and carries on, because I think that's important. A lot of people nowadays are too, I would say selfish, but maybe selfish is being too harsh, but that's the way I would describe it, is where people would have kids and those kids would just go off and live their own lives and not really worry about their siblings or worry about their mom and their dad because they're too busy with their own lives. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. I believe in a more traditional way, and that's the way I just described. So yeah, if you have that sense of purpose as well, let me know in the chat. That'll be great, so we can align on that. All right, so the last thing I want to discuss is men's mental health. Men's mental health. So men's mental health it has become a huge topic, I would say, over the last few years. And what we've also seen with that is a lot of weak men and a lot of men being exposed. It's been, I would say it's been a shit show. And it's yeah. And a lot of men, traditional men, choose to be silent because they choose to be silent because they don't want to be judged. If they open up, they feel weak and people don't look at them the same. And I tend to agree to a point, but I have a question for you guys in the chat, actually. Do you think that men should cry? Do you think that men should cry? When I say this, I mean, like, should they cry in public? Do you think it's acceptable for a man to cry in public? Let me know what you guys think. I have a possibly very controversial opinion on this. So yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Should men cry in public? Okay, while I wait for the replies to come in, I'll share my opinion on this matter. Should men cry? I think if men cry in public, it's the worst thing that you can possibly do. Why? Because I've experienced this personally. So I know from experience that men crying in public, it doesn't always turn out well. I'll give you an example with my own life, right? So I used to be very emotional, very, very emotional. I used to cry quite often. And what I noticed with that is that if you consistently cry, the people around you are not going to respect you or see you in the same way. And I noticed that when I started to do that, a lot of people who used to think that I was strong looked at me now like, he's not as strong as I thought he was. He's very weak. And he's so fragile. And I didn't like that. I don't like that perception of me. So I needed to do something to change it. And once I started to become stronger and I stopped doing that, I became a much stronger person. I had a much stronger mindset. What I noticed was a lot of people started to respect me more and look up to me more. So I think if you cry that in public, you start to lose a bit of respect. I think you do. And maybe not everyone will agree with me, but that's my take on it. I don't know what you guys think. So I got one came in now. Shikar, I don't think men should cry in public. Yeah, same. I don't think men should cry in public. If you feel like you need to cry, I think it's better to cry alone. That's the best thing. That's the best thing you could do. Is just cry alone. Because crying alone, I think no one can actually see you at your most vulnerable. And I know people will say that men should also be vulnerable, but I don't see it that way. I think men are always seen as the pillar of strength, and they're the ones who would have everything in order and have their emotions in check. So it's really difficult when you have an emotional man in your life, because if you are a father and a husband and you are very emotional, you always cry, or you cry quite often, then your wife and your kids are not going to look at you the same. They're just going to be like, okay, here he goes again. Because they're going to see that how fragile you are. Like, they're not going to respect you as much. They're not going to see you in the same light. They're not going to be able to say like, oh, my strong dad, or this. So I don't think it's a good thing. I really don't think it's a good thing. Okay, Darshan says it's situational dependent. I think it is. Like if like at a funeral for your dog, I think it is situational. It's look, if you have a death in the family or a death to a loved pet, I think it can be acceptable. But what I'm talking about is not a not a tear or two. I'm talking about hysterical crying, like where you have that ugly look on your face and your nose starts to go. I'm talking about that. Should men be doing that? A tear or two, look, if you are at a funeral and someone that you love has passed, it's acceptable, of course. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be too hysterical because everyone is going to look to you for strength. When that person dies, they're going to look to you for strength. And you need to be the one that's going to hold everyone together and be that rock for everyone. And when everyone is okay, I think then that's when you can take your time and just grieve by yourself. That's my honest take on it. All right. I have another question for you guys. So, with hindsight, what's one thing that you can go back in time to change? So, looking back at your life right now, what's one thing you wish you could go back and change? Let me know in the comments. I'm very, very curious about this one. What's one thing you would go back to change in your life if you could? For me, it was pretty difficult to narrow it down to just one. The first one that just came into my mind was, why didn't I buy Bitcoin? But there's a lot more that I can give you. But I would say if I had to choose one, I'd probably stick with that one. I would probably stick with that one, to be honest, because it's the first thing that came to my mind. And yeah, I'll probably stick with that one. I would just make an investment into Bitcoin. Simple as that. Okay. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. What is one thing that you could go back in time to change? I'll be waiting for your responses. The other things so I said already the Bitcoin stuff. The other things, if I look at that I was thinking about was, I wouldn't say I would change my mentality, because if I think about it, the reason why I am the person I am today is because of what I went through. So if I rob myself of that experience, then I probably might not be this person. So I would stick to that. I would not go back to change my mentality. I would stick to what I am now and not change that. So yeah, I think I've only got the Bitcoin one for now. Okay, Rahul says, I think showing vulnerability to your loved one shouldn't be something that one should avoid. However, I do agree the frequency matters. Yeah, I think so. Showing vulnerability is something that you shouldn't be doing often. I agree with you there. But sometimes it's not always a good thing. I think sometimes it's not always a good thing. It's situational dependent, like Darshan mentioned before. If you're always seen as someone who is emotional or cries a lot, it could suggest that your lack of emotional stability and therefore lose respect. Yeah. If you don't have emotional stability, no one is going to take you seriously. No one is going to want to take you seriously, because if you continuously are that person that's crying all the time, it's not going to have a good look for you. It's not going to be a good look for you. And I think for the serious topics, we can close it off there. I do have some fun questions, and I know someone in the chat. Someone in the chat. I'm looking forward to your answer to this. So the question is: do you hit legs, or are you guilty of skipping leg day? So do you hit legs, or are you guilty of skipping leg day? Let me know in the chat. When I first started to go to the gym and I started to train, I'll be honest, I didn't really train legs myself. I only knew how to train my chest, my back, actually not even my back. I would say my chest and my biceps, my triceps. That's it. And that's where I started. But over time, you learn that legs is very important. And now leg day is like one of my favorite days to look forward to. Yeah, so let me know. Do you hit legs, or are you guilty of skipping leg day? Like I said, I'm looking forward to one reply in the comments. Okay. Yeah, well, while we wait for that one, I want to go to another question I want to ask you. Just give it a few minutes. Okay, before we go to the next question, let's just give it a few minutes in the chat for the guys to reply. Guys and girls to reply. So yeah, skipping leg day, I think is normal for the gym bros because no one really likes to train legs. It's the hardest thing to train, but that's why I enjoy it so much, because I like the hard work that you have to put in and the feeling that you get afterwards. Because once you're done with leg day, it makes you feel a sense of accomplishment like no other muscle group can. So I think if you are someone who can get through a painful and brutal leg day, you can conquer anything in life. So, okay, if you woke up tomorrow with a superpower, what would it be? So let's say you woke up tomorrow morning and you had a superpower. What would you like that superpower to be? I'm intrigued by this one as well. I would like to find out from you guys, if you had that superpower, what will it be? There's so many options. You can be invisible, be able to fly, be able to read minds. What would you want to be able to do? For me, I'm not sure. Being invisible, not really. Being able to fly, I think can be good, but I think the thing with me maybe will be to read minds. I think to be a mind reader, I think would be the superpower that I would like, because it would alleviate so many problems that you would have in life. Like if you are able to just read someone's mind, you would know exactly what to say. And it would help a lot in business, to be honest. Because if you go in for a business deal, you can already know what they're talking about without saying anything. And it can help you to close that business deal. So I think that would be a good superpower to have, a very, very good superpower to have. Let me know what superpower would you like to have if you could. So we've covered a lot of topics. I've discussed a lot of topics today, and I think it was a good live, very, very good live. We've covered a lot of things today. I've spoken about my lowest points, my heartbreak, how I got over all those things, and my gymming, my planning, my journaling, my praying, and my sense of purpose. We touched a little bit on men's mental health. Should men cry or not? So we've touched on a lot of good topics. And let me know in the chat what do you guys want to cover in the next live? Because I think we can go on and on and on about so many different topics like depression, mental health, and all of this, right? But it doesn't really solve a problem. It doesn't solve a problem. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people to firstly educate them about what they are dealing with, and then giving them simple tips that they can use to potentially help them to not fix, but improve their situation. And this is where I need more and more of you guys to reach out to me. And if you're comfortable enough to reach out to me and just explain your situation, because everyone is different. Every situation is different. And I can give you a lot of practical advice, general advice, I would say. And it can relate to you, but maybe with your specific situation, maybe it won't. It really depends. So whatever I say, maybe with your situation, it could be different. It really could be different because a lot of people are going through a lot of the different emotions and things in their life right now. And some of them are stuck. Some of them don't have the guidance to know how to fix it or how to overcome it. And a lot of people don't really want to go to a therapist. And I understand that. And if you don't want to go to a therapist, there's so many other ways you can try first. And you can have great success with it. Because I refuse to go to a therapist as well, because I believe that I could fix it on my own. And what I did was simply the methods that I've listed out at the beginning of this video is to basically get yourself to the gym, start journaling, start praying, get your diets in order, be more productive. And there's so many ways. There's so many different ways. I can list so many different ways for you guys. And it's situation dependent, like I say. For me, those things worked. It helped me a lot to change from that suicidal and depressed person to the person I am now. So it does help, but maybe for you, you need a different approach. You need a just totally different approach. And you just don't know how to do it, or you need the guidance on how to do it. Then that's where I come in, and I can help you to find that what is going to work for you. I'm not promising you anything that it will help to fix you, but what I can say is that I can help you to the best of my ability to improve your current situation and to improve the way you're feeling and just help you to start progressing in life. Okay, we got some chats coming in. Shikar says, my superpower would be to always have hindsight. My superpower would be to always have hindsight. It's a bit of a strange one, to always have hindsight, because if you always have hindsight, then it's a bit of a strange one. Like, how would that work? If you always have hindsight, how would you live in the present? Okay. But, okay, good answer, good answer. I started with twice a week from my previous once a week. I think you're referring to the leg day, Rahul. Yeah, I think training legs twice a week is good. I also do legs twice a week. It's very effective. If you train legs once a week, then maybe it's because of time restrictions or the amount of days you have in the week to train. But once a week is okay. It's also okay. You can get in a pretty good workout and pretty decent results from once a week. However, that balance of gym and the grind is something that I've been struggling with. The balance of the gym and the grind is something that I've been struggling with. Okay, so the gym is something that people think of as a chore, that I have to do it or I don't feel like doing it, whatever the case is. You need to find a way to start enjoying it more. And I wouldn't say only enjoying it. Like, you need to look at it like this. If you want to continue to progress, what's one thing that you need to look at that always needs to be 100%? That's your health. Because you can have 99 problems. But when you have a health problem, you only have one problem left. All the other problems disappear. So, getting back to the gym is beneficial to your health, and you need to be considering your health as well as other things in your life. But your health should always be your number one priority. So making sure you're eating right, getting enough cardio in, and going to the gym at least, I would say, twice or 3 times a week is more than enough. That's more than enough. And you don't have to train for like hours and hours. An hour is okay. Even 45 minutes is okay. You can get a lot done if you just go to the gym, not mess around, don't play around with your phone. Just go to the gym, get your workout done, and get out. That's that balance is something that a lot of people struggle with. But if you look at your life, if you actually analyze your life, you realize that you have more time than you think. Because if you have the time to be scrolling on your phone, you have the time to be even watching this video, you have time to do so many tasks that's not really productive. I'm not saying this video isn't productive, because this video is very productive, but you waste a lot of time doing unproductive things. And you can use that for exercise. So there's always a way. You just need to basically look at your life, look at how your days are going, and plan it out. And then make sure you make a plan to fit in the gym at least 2 or 3 times a week. I think that's a good way. If you're not sure on how to do it, then reach out to me. I will help you and we can look at that together. The ability of multiplying myself more so productive rather than conceited. The ability of multiplying myself more so productive rather than conceited. I get you. So yeah, I think that's a good one. That's a good one, because if you have a lot of use, then you will be able to get a lot more done. Yeah, I agree. I wish I could do that as well. I could have maybe 3 or 4 me's. One could do the cleaning, one could do the cooking, one could do the video editing. Yeah, that'll work. That's a good one. Okay, Shikara says, I think maybe have a practical session to help with a common problem. A simple example would be to speak about how to deal with procrastination or lack of direction or purpose. Yeah, I think that would be a good one. A common problem is procrastination. I did do a video that covers that, but maybe some of the tips don't resonate with some of the people, but I think there's a lot of things that you can do to improve your productivity. And I would need to have a sit down to understand a situation before I would give an answer. Because I can give you, like you said, it's a common problem, but everyone's thing is maybe a bit different as to why they procrastinate. So you would have to tailor it to that specific person, because some people would be sensitive, some people would be hard, and I'm more of the hard approach. I like the harder approach, but not everyone can take it. So you would need to tailor it based on that person and then give the tips and advice there. But a general advice can work, but I would need to sit down with the person and have a conversation with them to understand why they're doing what they're doing, With the lack of direction or purpose, I think it's a common thing nowadays. Because a lot of people, especially with the youth of today, they don't really have a sense of direction or purpose because of what they're being fed on social media. It's like everyone is just sailing through life. No one really has a purpose and no one really has direction. And that's sad, because that should be taught at home. Like, you should be getting that from your mom and your dad. But I've also seen where kids have no purpose or no direction and they come from good homes. It's down to choices at the end of the day. And a lack of direction can stem from many things. It can stem from your upbringing, can just stem from what you're consuming online. Like, if you're watching the wrong kind of content online, that plays a huge role. A lot of people don't realize that. If you're watching a lot of very aggro content, like very aggressive content, you're going to start to be aggressive yourself. Or if you're watching very sad content all the time, like depressing and emotional stuff, you're going to end up being sad, depressed, and emotional. So it really does play a huge role of what you're consuming in your free time. That's why I think it's important to watch more podcasts like this and more educational stuff where you can actually learn something. But I'm not saying don't watch the entertainment stuff, but find a balance of where you spend 100% of your time watching entertainment stuff. Maybe try to split it. Try 50% of entertainment, 50% of something educational or something that's going to be beneficial for you to learn, Because I think everyone has something in their life that they were curious about, that they want to learn. And I think when you have your lunch break or you have some time, instead of, looking at entertainment videos, search that thing that you're curious about and do some research, do some reading, watch a video, whatever. I think that's a good way. But we can look at practical ways of dealing with these kinds of situations, but I would like it to be situational. So hopefully in the future we can get to that point of where we can speak to people face to face and deal with those problems. Okay, Shikar says, so I guess you should watch what you watch. I'm not sure if you have, is it a typo, Shikar? So I guess you should watch what you watch. Oh, okay. Sorry. That's me being silly. You should watch what you watch. Okay, this is the way you worded it. Yeah, you should be wary of what you watch. Yeah, consuming the wrong kind of content, like I said, can be detrimental because it plays a huge role in how you act and how you behave. Because if you follow certain influencers or you follow certain people and you really look up to them, you would start to copy their behaviors. And if they start acting in a negative way, you're also going to want to start acting in that negative way as well. So it's very important that you be wary of what you're consuming, be wary of what your kids are watching, because they can be really badly affected, I think. So I think we've discussed a lot of topics and we've reached the hour mark. And I want to thank everyone for joining the live. Thank you guys for the comments. Really appreciate it. And let me know in the next one what you guys want to talk about. Shikar already mentioned that he wants to talk more about procrastination, direction, purpose. And we'll look to cover that as well. And whatever else you guys want to talk about, let me know. All right. Have a great evening, and I'll see you on the next one.